the client was. So I replied, "Say hi to Doug." At that moment, my phone rang. She knew the game was over. I didn't pick up the first ring. Let it die on the porch boards while I held my mug. Warm October night in Ohio. Crickets going. A neighbor's dog barking at nothing 2 yards over. She called again. That time I answered. Dean, listen to me. It's not, please. Don't do anything. Just listen. Her voice was a whisper, and the whisper was wet. She was somewhere she shouldn't have been, trying to keep her mouth close to the phone. A TV behind her. Some cable show playing low. A man's voice saying her name once. Careful, then going quiet. I let her go for 10 seconds. She kept saying please and honey in 31 years. Words she hadn't used on me in a long time. I looked at the porch boards under my boots. Painted them myself the summer Kyle turned 15. Then I told her, "Don't come home tonight, Terry." She started to say something else. I hung up. Sat there another half hour with the coffee going cold. Didn't cry. Didn't break the mug. Just listened to the dog finally stop barking, and the crickets keep on going like nothing in the world had changed. I knew exactly what was going to happen next. I'd known for a week. The Thursday before, Kyle had called from Columbus about a noise his truck was making. Halfway through the call, he laughed. Hey, weirdest thing. Drove past that motel out by the bypass on Wednesday. Thought I saw Mom's car in the lot. Couldn't be, right? I told him he was probably mistaken. Cars look alike from the road. He agreed, said he was tired, and we went back to talking about the truck. After we hung up, I stood in the kitchen with the phone in my hand a long time. Wednesdays. Terry always had late client meetings on Wednesdays. Commercial real estate, she'd say. Showings ran long. I never questioned it because why would I? 31 years. I didn't drive out there that night. Or the next. I waited a whole week because if there was something to see, it would be there again on the same day. A man my age learns patience. You don't tear an engine apart looking for one bad valve. You listen first. You let the noise tell you where it lives. That whole week I went to the shop and came home and ate supper across from her like always. She asked about my day. I asked about hers. She lied easy. I didn't know yet how easy. By Tuesday night, I'd already decided what I'd do if it was true. I just needed to see it with my own eyes first. The next Wednesday, I closed the shop at 4. Told my guy Ramon I had a doctor thing. Drove out to the bypass and parked across the street from the motel, behind a Dollar General sign, where the lot sat high enough that I could see the row of room doors, but nobody much could see me. Her car was already there. Dark blue Camry. Bumper sticker from the high school where Kyle played ball. I knew that bumper better than I knew her face some days. 40 minutes I sat. Listened to the engine tick down. Watched a cleaning lady push a cart past 3 times. My hands were calm on the steering wheel, the way they get when I'm working on something delicate and don't want to drop a part. Then door 11 opened. Terry came out first. Pulled her coat tight. Didn't look around. 6 or 7 seconds later, behind her, came Doug Mallory. I want to tell you I didn't know what I was looking at. But I did. They didn't kiss. Didn't touch. Walked to 2 different cars like people who had practiced not touching in parking lots. Doug's truck was parked at the far end of the lot. Smart. The kind of smart you learn over time. Terry pulled out and turned toward town. Back to the office. Finish out her day at her desk like nothing had happened. Doug sat in his truck a minute, head down on the wheel. Then he left too. I didn't move for 10 more minutes. Then I drove home. 20 years, Doug Mallory had been at my table. Coach Kyle's Little League the summer my boy was 8. Sat on my porch every 4th of July. Helped me pour the concrete pad behind the garage one weekend in '09. Stood up at Kyle's wedding 2 years ago and made a toast that made my wife cry. That's who came out of room 11 behind her. I drove home and Terry was already in the kitchen, browning hamburger for tacos. She turned and smiled at me. Long day. Long enough, I said. We ate at the table. She told me about a property closing that almost fell through. Used the word client twice. I ate my food. Asked her to pass the hot sauce. Our hands didn't quite touch. What I felt wasn't rage. It was the kind of quiet you get when you finally see the whole engine and you know exactly which part is broken. After supper, she went up to shower. I sat in my chair with the TV on mute and put the pieces together. 2 years of canceled trips. The way she stopped looking at me at Kyle's wedding. The Wednesdays. The locked phone she used to leave open. I had every piece. I just needed one more thing to make sure I wasn't lying to myself. I slept in the same bed that night because moving out would have told her I knew. I wasn't ready to tell her yet. She rolled over once and put her hand on my back, the way she used to. I didn't move. She took the hand back. Confirmation came on its own the next morning, the way these things do once you've started looking. Terry was in the shower. I was at the kitchen counter pouring coffee. Her phone was face up on the table where she always left it. She's left it face up for 30 years, because what would she ever have to hide? It buzzed. Screen lit. A name I knew, and one line of preview text under it. Asterisk Doug Mallory. Same time next Wednesday. Miss you already. Asterisk. Read it twice. Made sure my eyes weren't playing. Then I did something I'm a little proud of. I didn't pick the phone up. Didn't unlock it. Didn't scroll. Didn't give myself the chance to find more and lose what I had. Just stood there with my coffee and let the screen go dark on its own. When she came down 10 minutes later in her work clothes, smelling like that grapefruit shampoo she likes, she scooped the phone off the table without looking at it and dropped it in her purse. Kissed my cheek. Said something about a showing at noon. I said, "Drive safe." She walked out. I heard the Camry start. Heard her back down the drive. Poured the rest of the coffee in the sink. Sat at the table where the phone had been. Started thinking, slow, about how the rest of the day was going to go. That night, around 9, the text came in. Late dinner with a client. Han, don't wait up. That's when I wrote back. Say hi to Doug. 40 seconds. That's how long it took her phone to call mine. She came home at 3 in the morning. I was still on the porch. Coffee long gone, replaced twice. Her headlights came up the drive slow. She didn't pull into the garage like usual. Killed the engine halfway. Sat in the car a long time. She'd been driving around for hours. I could see it in the coat, the makeup, the way she was holding the keys when she finally got out. She came up the steps and stopped at the bottom. Mascara gone. Coat button wrong. Dean, please. Inside. Not out here. I followed her in. She went to the kitchen, stood by the sink. I leaned against the door frame. Didn't sit. The first thing out of her mouth was, I couldn't stay there. I didn't want it to end like this. I almost laughed. Didn't want it to end like this. Like she got to pick the ending of something I'd been writing with her for 31 years. She kept talking. Wasn't what I thought. Was complicated. She'd been lonely. I'd been somewhere else for a long time. She still loved me. That was the part she needed me to hear. I let her finish. Then I looked at her, right across the kitchen, right at her face. You let Doug Mallory into our bed, Terry. Doug, the man who carried our son on his shoulders. There's nothing you can say to me tonight that I want to hear. She started to cry. I let her cry, then set it flat. In the morning, pack a bag and drive to your sister's. Don't come back unless I tell you to. She started to say my name. I cut her off. Don't. I went upstairs. Slept in Kyle's old room. Turned the lock for the first time in 20 years. Kyle drove down Saturday morning. I'd called him Friday afternoon from the shop, between a brake job and a transmission flush. Told him short, the way you'd tell a man. His mother and Doug. I'd seen them. I was filing. He was quiet on the line a long time. Then he said one word. Doug. Doug, I said. He drove down that night. Got in around 11. Walked into the kitchen, dropped his keys on the counter the way he did when he was 16, and asked where his mother was. At your Aunt Linda's, I told him. Won't be coming back. He sat down at the table, put his head in his hands. I made him a sandwich because I didn't know what else to do. He ate it without looking up. When he was done, he said quiet. 20 years he sat on this porch. 20 years. I know, son. He kept going. He coached me, Dad. He was at my wedding. I know that too, I said. He looked up at me then. My boy is 30 years old, married, an engineer in Columbus. And right then he looked 20 years younger and like the floor had just gone out from under him. He asked what I needed from him. I thought about it. Honestly thought. Then I told him, nothing right now. Just sit on the porch a while. Like you used to. We took 2 beers out and sat. Didn't talk much. The crickets were still going, even into October. Eventually he went to bed in his old room, and I went to mine. The one I'd taken back. The one with the door that locked. In the morning, I started moving her things into boxes. The town did the rest of the work for me. I didn't have to lift a finger. Small towns are like cooling engines. Heat finds the cracks. By the end of the second week, Doug's wife Marlene knew. I don't know who told her. Could have been anyone. The lady who cleans rooms at the Bypass Motel had a daughter who went to school with our pharmacist's kid. That's how it works out here. Marlene called me on a Tuesday. I was under a customer's Silverado. Ramon brought me the shop phone, wiping his hands on a rag. and he gave me a careful look I hadn't seen him give me before. She said, "Dean, I just need to ask you one thing. How long?" I came out from under the truck, wiped my hands, stood in the bay with the phone against my ear and the smell of motor oil on my fingers. I said back, "I don't know exactly, Marlene. Long enough. I'm sorry." She made a sound on the other end. Not crying. Lower than that. Then she said, "Thank you for telling me straight," and hung up. Doug quit the youth league 3 days later. Just walked into the rec center and turned in his clipboard. Couldn't stand on a diamond anymore in front of all those dads, half of whom I'd done break jobs for. League put out a notice about a coaching change. Personal reasons. Everybody knew the personal reason. His marriage went down inside a month. Marlene took the kids to her mother's place over in Akron and didn't come back. I didn't celebrate any of it. Didn't smile when I heard. A man I'd once called my brother was being dismantled across town, and his wife, a woman who'd been kind to mine for 2 decades, was packing up a house. But I wasn't sorry either. Sorry is what you owe somebody who didn't earn what's coming. 2.5 weeks after the motel night, I stopped for gas on the way home from the shop. Sheets on Route 30. Pump 4. I was filling up, watching the numbers roll. Then I looked across the island and Doug Mallory was standing at Pump 3. We saw each other at the same time. He froze with the nozzle in his hand. Looked down. Tried to make himself small, which is hard when you're 6'2" and everybody in 3 counties knows your truck. I didn't move. Didn't speak. Kept filling up. 5 minutes we stood there like that, with the pumps clicking and a country song playing tinny out of the speakers above us. Then he couldn't take it. He set the nozzle back, walked around the front of his truck, and came over to my side. Stopped about 6 feet off. Hands open at his sides like a man approaching a dog he's not sure of. "Dean, I've been wanting to come by. I owe you a sit-down. 20 years, man." I couldn't just. I let him talk. Whole speech. About how it wasn't supposed to happen. How they tried to stop. How he hated himself. Then he said the thing that was the only thing I'd really come to hear. "It's been about a year, Dean. A little more. I'm not going to lie to you about that part. A year. There it was, in the open, where I could finally look at it." I clicked my pump off. Hung it up. Screwed my gas cap back on, slow. Then I looked at him. Right at his face. "You sat on my porch every 4th of July for 20 years, Doug. Don't ever knock on it again." I got in my truck. Closed the door. Pulled out onto Route 30 and didn't look in the mirror. That was the last time I saw him. Linda came on a Sunday to help Terry get the rest of her things. Linda is Terry's older sister. Held Kyle the day he was born, before I did, because I was throwing up in a hospital bathroom from nerves. 31 years she'd been at my table too. I was out front fixing a loose board on the porch step when their cars pulled up. Terry got out and went straight inside without a word. Linda came up the walk and stopped at the bottom of the steps with her arms crossed. "You're feeling pretty righteous right now, aren't you, Dean?" I set the hammer down on the porch board. She kept going. "You knew. Maybe not the man, maybe not the room. But you knew. The last 2 years you came home, and you sat in that garage, and you didn't say one word to her. You let her starve out here. And when she finally went looking for a meal somewhere else, you got to play the wronged husband. Real convenient. She wanted me to argue. Wanted me to defend myself. Give her something to push against. That's how Linda worked. She fought best when somebody fought back. I didn't. Maybe Terry had told her that version. Maybe Linda needed it to be true so her sister wasn't the only one carrying it. Either way, that wasn't a conversation I was going to have on my own porch with a woman holding my wife's car keys. I picked the hammer back up. Drove the nail I'd been working on.